2 and 1.
Good evening, friends and neighbors. My name is Terry Carter, and I am a writer and a poet. I also have the privilege of directing elder services at our beloved West Medford Community Center. Welcome to our 36th monthly presentation of First Friday's Words and Music. Wherever you are on the political spectrum, we are all in anticipation and perhaps some measure of anxiety as we await the outcome of this week's election. And clearly, in this country and in our world right now, things are anything but normal. So we're doing our best to be calm, cool, and collected on this first Friday in November as we continue to get adjusted to what's more than strange and definitely new. That said, we thank you for welcoming us into your homes for another special and unique edition of this significant community program. Now, we are, of course, still under the physical distancing requirements imposed by local, state, and federal authorities for COVID-19 concern. As such, we're continuing to do things that we've never done before to keep providing programs that you've come to enjoy at the WMCC. We are once again using the Zoom video conferencing platform to stage tonight's program, which we are broadcasting to you via Facebook live stream on the West Medford Community Center's page and on Medford Community Media channels 3 for Comcast and 47 for Verizon. If you're out there watching on your electronic devices, welcome to the show. Tonight is a conversation about local education in the wake of the COVID-19 era. Inquiring minds want to know how our Medford parents, kids, educators, administrators, elected officials, and system supports keeping it together academically, socially, relationally, and in mind, body, and spirit. So we've gathered a great group of folks together to respond to these concerns and perhaps address some of the questions you may want answers to. Let me introduce my fantastic panel of guests who are dynamically connected to educational outcomes in Greater Medford and who have graciously consented to tell their own stories of what parenting, managing, and educating has been like while we travel this coronavirus road together. Please welcome back Marie Cassidy. Marie is the director and family specialist of the award-winning Medford Family Network, and I almost don't know where to start in celebrating her professional accomplishments. I will sum it up to say that she manages a family support and parenting education program that is available to every child and caregiver who lives or works in Medford with at least one child prenatal through age 7. It is grant funded by the Massachusetts Department of Early Education and Care, the Children's Trust, and the Friends of Medford Family Network Corporation. The goal of MFN is to create a strong web of support for all families of young children. I'll let Marie talk more about this. Good to see you, Marie.
Oh, great to be back, Terry. Wonderful to be back.
We are also joined by Dr. Maurice Edouard Vincent. Before making history and joining Medford Public Schools in early 2019 as the system's first Black chief executive, Maurice was a network superintendent in Boston Public Schools for close to 8 years and a BPS principal for just as long. She is a highly accomplished educational administrator and is at the helm of the Medford schools at a very critical time. Mm-hmm. I thoroughly enjoyed our first one-on-one conversation on this program back in March of 2019. We are certainly living in different times now. Please welcome back as a proud former resident of the Ville, Dr. Maurice Edouard Vincent.
Good evening, everyone. So excited to be here tonight to be part of this great conversation.
Thank you. Also in the Zoom room is Melanie Perkins McLaughlin. Melanie is a filmmaker, an activist, a child advocate, and a member of the Medford School Committee. She has a master's degree from the Harvard Graduate School of Education, and she's a super busy working mom. Mel has joined us before as a panelist, and we are delighted to have her with us again. Good evening, Mel.
Thanks, Terry. It's great to be here. Always happy to be here.
Very good, very good. Next, we have the alter ego of Stacy Clayton. And she's certainly not a stranger to local folk as a sought-after musical director, singer, and entertainer. I say alter ego because tonight she's showing us another side as a mother of school-age children in nearby private schools, and as the chief cook and bottle washer at her own Somerville-based preschool. If I don't get this right, don't be mad at me, okay, Stacy? I should have asked you first. High Rock Children's Village?
High Rock Covenant Preschool. High Rock Covenant to oh my God, what am I saying? Kingdom Rock Children's Village. I'm going back too far. I'm sorry.
Okay.
My school is Kingdom Rock Children's Village.
Very good. Very good. Okay, so, and finally, we're joined by a new friend of the program and a key support professional in the Medford Public School System, also named Stacy. Please welcome Stacy Schulman. Stacy is the Director of School Counseling and Behavioral Health for the Medford Public Schools. She is also a licensed mental health counselor, a wife, and a mother of 2 young boys. Thank you for being here, Stacy. And excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm missing our friend Losa. Let me introduce Losa Julie Janvier. Losa is a Medford resident and a parent. She currently works at the Malden YWCA and previously in the hospital community of Greater Boston. She was appointed as a commissioner, resident commissioner for the Medford Housing Authority in August of 2015, and has served as chairperson for 2 terms. She is an active fair housing advocate and has offered her services to the MHA residents in many different capacities, including translating and interpreting Creole. Losa, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, as is my custom on these evenings, please allow me, I'm a poet after all, to offer a new poem to get things started. And then let's spend an important few minutes talking about COVID-19's impact on local education. Okay, so I'm going to read a new poem called Coronavirus Blues, a pandemic poem. No toilet paper at the store. What did I even go shopping for? This mask is giving my face a rash. I just want to throw it in the trash. Latex gloves, they make me scratch. So now I wear an allergy patch. Hand sanitizers chafing my skin. Sad to reflect on the shape we're in. I'm washing my hands like Lady Macbeth. I can't stand to hear of another friend's death. My birthday party happened on Zoom. No one else was in the room. The cars paraded down my street, balloons, but somehow incomplete. My kids missed prom and graduation. Look what this thing has done to our nation. How do we keep from freaking out? Whose advice are we seeking out? All of our patience is leaking out of this living we're barely eking out. Red stake rogues won't stay in their lane, going to rallies and spreading the strain. Can't see Gramps in the nursing home, hoping and praying he's keeping shalom. Yaya says, it's Greek to me. How can I love all my family? What if my Stavros doesn't come back, victimized by this viral attack? Fatality toll is rising each day. Why can't our leaders find the right way? This virus is pushing us over the edge, carving us up with a razor-sharp wedge, chasing us onto a dangerous ledge. Can't we just chill? Can't we just veg? These are the days that try men's souls. They're raking us parents over the coals. They'll use the tablet to play Fortnite, but not to keep their math skills right. So tired of having kids in my face. Don't they have to go someplace? I want to get dressed and go to work. When did this teen become such a jerk? Who came up with this hybrid model? That's the one that I need the throttle. It's traumatizing us poor teachers, like Red Sox fans in the Yankee bleachers. I feel so bad for the local shops, the cafes, and all the mom and pops, for the EMTs, the nurses, and cops. Will they be okay when this madness stops? Will we find some bottoms to go with our tops when the last Zoom classroom finally drops? Betrothals can't have a proper wedding, and churches face some really tough sledding. Live stream preaching and virtual Jesus somehow doesn't really totally please us. I just can't seem to shake these blues. Is there some potion I can use? Doctors say to stay at home. Time to finish this COVID poem. Social distance gets magnified as feuding families choose a side. Political football gets tossed around, not an ounce of civility found. Meanwhile, what sick people struggle to live, what the left side wants, the right won't give. This mask is giving my face a rash. I just want to throw it in the trash. Latex gloves, they make me scratch. So now I wear an allergy patch. I've got those coronavirus blues. My mind, I think I'm gonna lose. Sad to reflect on the shape we're in. Pray that the virus doesn't win. Okay, we're up and running. Poetry's all done, and we're ready to have some fun. So, Dr. Marie Edouard Vincent, I want to start with you. What do you believe parents and residents may misunderstand most about implementing the district's educational plan?
I think right now, first, I just want to say thank you for the beautiful poem, as always. It was wonderful. And you captured a lot of sentiments that all of us are experiencing.
Thank you.
In terms of your question about what I feel parents are potentially misunderstanding or not understanding about the hybrid approach in Medford, we went through a very lengthy process over the summer where we did have a lot of community engagement, and we were tasked from the commissioner with coming up with 3 plans: a full remote plan, a hybrid plan, a staggered hybrid plan, and schools had to determine what model would work best for them, given the structure of your school, given the staffing needs that you have. And so in Medford, our hybrid plan that we landed on was Monday, Tuesday, 1 cohort, which is cohort A was our most vulnerable students. And that included our students with high needs or higher special needs, our students that were English learners, our students that were identified as homeless and or foster students, foster children, and our early childhood children, our MEET programming. Okay. Those are the 5 groups of individuals that we classified as our most vulnerable. They were classified as cohort A. And for the whole entire district of approximately 4,200 students, we ended up that group of students that parents opted to have them participate in in-person instruction. They attend school 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Then for the next tier or grouping of students, we had hybrid instruction, and we, due to wanting to ensure safety, we reduced class size. So essentially class size was cut in half. So if a classroom normally had 20 students, we would have 10 students in the space with 6 feet of space between each day. So because we reduced class size by approximately half, we would not be able to have students in school, the same 20 students with 1 teacher fit in the classroom. So We had cohort B and cohort C, which would attend Monday and Tuesday is cohort B, Thursday, Friday, cohort C.
Mhm.
Our fourth cohort, cohort D, was full remote. And some families, for different reasons, it could have been medical reasons, it could have just been because there was so much unpredictability with the virus and not knowing what to expect. Some families, they may have maybe a grandparent or someone who is immunocompromised. So
Okay.
they made that decision. And so in Medford Public Schools, it was approximately over 60% of families wanted in-person, some type of in-person instruction.
I see.
And 38, 40% opted for remote instruction, full-time at home. So that was all of the work that took place over the summer. And that was the model that Medford ended up choosing.
Okay.
Days in, Wednesdays would be in asynchronous day, online learning day. And then the other cohort would have 2 days, Thursday, Friday.
Okay.
Some communities did 1 week on, 1 week off, but we opted for 2 days a week, whether you were cohort B or cohort C.
Okay.
So that kind of was what the genesis or the thinking of what led us to have a staggered hybrid. And so we have been slowly bringing our students back in
Okay.
as we've ensured that all of the buildings are up to code.
Okay.
And so
Mm.
all of those changes though, so as of this coming Monday, we will have K through 7 in on Monday.
Okay.
And on the 16th, 8th grade will be starting on the 16th. And then a few of our vocational students will be starting on the 19th, November 19th. So we
Okay.
are continuing to stagger and bring students in phases. So for families that could have been definitely very frustrating while they've been waiting their turn to be able to come back to school. But as a parent and, dealing with Zoom school with a school-age child myself, I realize how difficult it is for children to be on a computer learning all day long,
Yes.
watching a screen.
Okay.
And so we are trying our best, even if it is 2 days a week, to get them in. I feel that 2 days is better than 0 days for those
Okay.
families that want it.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think, that really, was necessary to, to have, a longer explanation because in a lot of instances that parents aren't getting all of that. They're not getting all of that information. So I appreciate you taking a little extra time to work through some of that with us. Stacy Schulman, I want to come to you next because I know you work in an important support role in the system. And in working with Dr. Edward Vincent and the teachers, et cetera, and the parents across the district, could you talk about some of the areas of concern from the emotional and clinical side of the system?
Certainly, I'm happy to. And again, thank you for inviting me this evening. One of the things we've heard since the start of the pandemic in March is concern for mental health.
Mm-hmm.
There are several factors here. One, fear, right, which is legitimate. There is a legitimate anxiety that people have, and we all have anxiety because it's inherent to keep us safe. Right? If there's danger coming, our body says, this is dangerous. Right. Now, this environment is a little bit tricky because it's not something we can see. People are very isolated. They're secluded. They're often told to isolate and be secluded. Right. So this has been a theme all along. And certainly along with anxiety is trauma. Mm-hmm. People have been, put into traumatic situations or experienced trauma because of the coronavirus. Okay. So that's one of the challenges we've seen globally. Mm-hmm. And certainly with our students, staff, and parents is the anxiety, the traumas some have experienced due to this, and just a complete change in the modality of our lives. Okay. As you spoke so eloquently in your poem about earlier, teachers are not taught to teach on Zoom. They use so many techniques to connect with their students, so many that are just, nonverbal techniques. You walk
Right.
closer to a student, you point out a problem, you say, hey, can you come talk to me quickly after class? Or you notice a student walks in and something's off, right? So you then walk down the hall and talk to your counselor and say, could you check in with this student a little later, or maybe connection. So that day-to-day quick connections is something that we're desperately missing during the remote environment. Dr. Edward Vinson mentioned we have K-7 students in the building at least a few days a week.
Yeah.
However, those are students who are electing to come in.
Right.
Many of our students who are experiencing significant levels of mental health are choosing to remain remote.
Okay.
So that also limits us. We have counselors doing Zoom sessions all day long, right? And we've trained them extensively in trauma and approaches to anxiety over the summer due to some wonderful grant funding, and we have groups running, and as much as we can do.
Okay.
But if they're not with us, in front of us, there is that missing piece. And I know that the counselors of Medford feel the same way, and sort of just that overall touch point that we're missing to see students involved.
Educating children is very much a field profession.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very intuitive, and a lot of what's happening now is very much counterintuitive. So I appreciate that. And I definitely will come back to you. I have some other questions, but I want to bounce over to Losa. Losa, as a parent, what have been some of your greatest challenges, and what solutions have you found?
Well, for me, my child is a kindergartner.
Okay.
And I must say, first of all, on behalf of her teacher, they have been doing an excellent job, because it is not easy teaching. Years ago, before I moved here to Massachusetts, I was working in the school system in New York. So teaching student is a hands-on. Not being hands-on with the kids, being in remote, it's very difficult. It's very easy, especially for a child. For me, I worry because of the fact that she's not experiencing the things that she should be experiencing, as a kindergartner. The reason why I opt out for her to be in remote, because of medical issue that my family and I have. So we don't want to put us at risk. So therefore I choose to do that.
Okay.
But at the same time, I wish that in some area that when you're dealing with younger age children, like a kindergartner who is not used to this type of, it's just fresh into school, they should some of the teacher kind of understand, not all of them, to kind of like level it down and not go too fast.
Okay.
Because you're teaching kids on a remote, on a computer.
Yeah.
So you need to understand, you can't go too fast. They missed out.
Okay.
At the same time, you're looking at the screen and they're raising their hands. You may miss one or two.
Okay.
They don't understand. They feel like, oh, I'm being left out. I'm not being called on. I've seen that when I watch, her. It doesn't happen to her, but I've seen other kids, they raise their hands. Even sometimes she felt that way too. She's like, well, I've been holding my hand for the longest time, to the point that she holds the arm with the other hand.
Wow.
That's how long she have to wait.
Okay.
But I understand. And at the end of the day, I have to explain to her, not all the kids are fortunate to have that. I have to explain to her, it's very difficult to see on a screen all the other kids. Sometimes the teacher may bypass you, but he's not doing it on purpose.
Okay.
Again, those are the things that I wish that when they go too fast, to kind of check in with the kids.
Okay.
They don't have to wait for them to raise their hands, and check in with one of, every now and then. Hey, do you have something to say? Is there anything that you want to, to bring in? And let them express themselves?
Well, what I'm happy to hear in your comment is that you're being proactive in terms of helping your child after they may experience, a difficult time, while they're on screen and while they're interacting with that teacher. So I think that that's one of the places where the rubber meets the road is how willing the parent is to stay engaged with the process. So it's good to hear that you are staying engaged with the process. I'll come back to you. I'm going to bounce over to Stacy Clayton for just a second. Stacy, as we talked before, you told me that your children or child, I'm not sure which, but are actually in private school and not in the public school system. I'm not sure how that changes the parenting equation, if at all. Could you describe your responsibilities for their schooling right now?
So I think in some ways, private schools tend, and I'm not saying all of them, but they tend to have the advantage of being able to have more in-class sessions, at school sessions, because they're generally, the population is a little smaller than a public environment would be. They have probably more flexible use of space, less, they can come together and make decisions fairly quickly about, how they're going to move things along. So the two of my children, they're in school 4 days a week, and then Fridays they have remote learning.
Okay.
So right now, the level of supervision and the level of, and they're also a little older because they're in high school now.
That's right.
So it's not, I don't have it as hard as, other parents would with younger children or with remote learning. I can say from the perspective of when we were doing remote learning during the COVID closures, that the dynamic that I would see with older children, it's more so having enough space and monitors on at the same time and hearing each other's conversations and being able to navigate that. That was more of the household dynamics. I would be trying to be a teacher and jumping up and down in the living room, and it was cutting into time for one of my children to come into the living room to do their remote learning kind of thing. But in general, I would say because it's a private school, they might have more space, available to be able to have children come to the school more frequently. And what they've chosen to do is they still have a hybrid model in the sense that they are going remote 1 day a week, and you always have that option to do it remotely. So they tend to have the funding too, to be able to set up classrooms that have, the equipment that's needed so that anybody that gets sick or what have you, they have the option to do remote learning at any point in time.
Okay. Yeah, clearly there are some advantages and potentially some disadvantages as well. So there's no perfect solution, clearly. Marie?
Yes.
Now MFN has remained very busy, I've noticed, in its child and parent support activities in 2020, even in the midst of COVID. Can you talk about some of the most successful things that you're doing right now and how the coronavirus has impacted your game plan?
Oh boy, has it impacted our game plan incredibly. We had to do a 180 to learn how to, as Stacy said, those connections were no longer available to us, and how working with our families for 26 years in Medford and building those relationships. Yes. That trust is the most important way, relationship building, how you work with families. So we had to find out how to do that, restructure our way of doing things. So we had to learn how to Zoom, play groups, and create a YouTube channel to keep the faces of our staff in the homes of our children that we've come to know, with story times and play groups and fun things to do together through that vehicle. We actually continue with our parent education programs, which I didn't think would fly too well, but then, as we all know, the needs are so great for the emotional and social welfare of our families. And so they utilize the parent education programming. We changed how we do business a little bit. Instead of a series of programs, we let parents come in when they can. Instead of requiring, say, a 6-part or 4-part series, we let them come in, drop in time, be there, talk, and go out with just maybe one strategy of how to work this all through. So we had to build on that. And you might know we have outdoor programming. I couldn't do any programming at all for a while, but then I got approval to be outside. So we're taking over outside and doing nature walks in the park and art in the park and kinds of things. Our numbers are limited. They're quite smaller than we used to be able to serve, but we're able to do that. And we're doing 8 of them a week. And a couple of things I wanted to really talk about is 2 amazing tools that we've had as a resource in our Medford Family Network for many, many years, but I think now are more important than ever. One of them is the Parent Child Plus program, where we go out into the a home visitor, but we're just doing it, online, and twice a week for half an hour with every family between the ages of 16 months and 4 years old. So we're getting in there where they may not have any other resource available, that those parents may not be able to afford childcare. They're home. And this is to build their relationship with their children, to build on their communication skills, their literacy. So we give them a toy or a book once a week, come back a few days later, and then be with any other adult who's in the home and work with them, build that relationship, and work together, getting them to really to prepare for school, to prepare through the literacy. So we have 5 openings left of the 20 that we have available for our families. So I'm appealing to everyone out there, anyone who has a child between the ages of 16 months and 4, call me or email me, and I would love to connect you with the director of that program with whom we work, and get them connected in ways that will support them, not just in that way, but also with other resources that we can provide that family. The other one is called the Ages and Stages program, and that is really building on helping a parent become in the driver's seat. We start from age 2 months up to age 60 months, and give a parent a tool that they can look at 5 different skill development areas: fine motor, gross motor, communication, problem solving, and personal social. Crucial right now to be looking at pieces of our children's lives. And it's a great tool, easy to administer yourself as a parent online, or with us virtually, or we can send you a hard copy, and then we'll work together online to score those 5 domains, send you with a packet full of learning activities and ideas specifically designed for you and your family. And you can take it every 2 months until the child is 60 months old. You can drop in anytime. Child's 48 months, 36 months, whatever age that child is, please utilize that. It's called the Ages and Stages questionnaire, and it's a wonderful tool. And you also you get resources sent to you all the time. Again, but you get ways to utilize what's in your home to become actual educational materials. It's pretty
fantastic. And so drop Medford Family Network in your browser bar of your computer, all right, and seek out the vast resources that they have available. Marie, you're doing a fantastic job. I hear about it all the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Melanie, I wanted to talk with you because as you've met and deliberated with your school committee colleagues, what issues are most difficult for the body? What progress can you feel positive about?
Wow. Thank you for having me. First of all, it's always good to listen to everyone. I really enjoyed listening to all of you talk tonight. And I do just also want to say, Marie, thank you for all your hard work. I took the systematic training for effective parenting when my now 19-year-old and 17-year-old were in their 1 to 3-year-old stages. And it really taught me how to parent. And I appreciate that to this day. So thank you very much.
Wow.
Yeah. And so what are the challenges, I think, just like in the discussion that we're having right now, For me, the challenges are thinking about all the variations on this theme for every family, right? And so, we have some families who are very well resourced and, have childcare and have computers and have, all the things that their child might need. And even so, I know that it's hard for those families.
Right.
And then we also have families that are struggling with, food insecurity and language barriers and access to internet and all of those things. So for me, and we have a lot of families who email us, and a lot of times those families already have access to email, right? Already have the computer literacy skills, already have the internet or whatever. So they're already a certain type of parent that might be reaching out to the school committee. So what keeps me up at night is thinking about those families that don't have those contacts. How are they, accessing what they need, and the social emotional piece and the mental health piece, and how difficult it is when you have, all the stresses of trying to keep your job and trying to keep your food and pay the bills and take care of the kids. And, I know families that I've talked to as well that have maybe a neurotypical developing child and a child with a disability. And, to Stacy's point, when you have two different people or two different students in the house and there's not a lot of space, and one of them might be making nonverbal noises while the other one is trying to, communicate with their peers at a middle school level, and it's embarrassing, or it's, any number of things. So all of those complexities are the things that sort of I struggle with, and how do we meet the needs of all of these children? And and I know that the administration, and I'm sure everybody here struggles with, and our homeless population and our foster children and our non-English speakers. So as Marie was talking about her program, which I know she's really great about working on, I was thinking, how is this being translated for families, and how are they thinking about, providing this programming to families that need, another language, or how is, and those are a lot of the things that we bring up in discussions about how are we actually reaching these more marginalized communities. So those are the things I think that the hard work, that's the heavy lifting. And the things that I feel like we've done well, honestly, I think one of the things that we've really done well, this is probably going to sound silly, but I don't know, I have to say it's just almost just surviving.
Yeah.
Like, who would have known that we were going to be in a pandemic, right? In a global pandemic. I mean, I think back to the naivete of running a campaign and being eager to be on the school committee, and all of the, years that I thought about the things that needed to be done and how I wanted to get in there and work and, really get things done. And then all of a sudden, we're into our second month of, really starting to work on the budget and the nitty gritty, and we got thrown this whole entire curveball. So I think the fact that we, just get through one day at a time and continue to function and develop relationships and continue to be respectful of each other and work together. I've really enjoyed working with the superintendent and getting to know you and your work and your leadership style. And I think we obviously have work to do. And I look forward to a time, hopefully, when it is a much tamer work that we are doing, and we're not just in that emergency mode that Stacy talked about a little while ago, Stacy Schulman, where you're in that constant hyper-vigilant stage. It'll be nice to get back to a more normal state.
Absolutely. Perfect. And I think you said it very well, is change is really the only constant. It's the only guarantee that we have. So, even as we're in a place where we're all looking for some fairly significant change in the way that our lives are governed, I can see from talking to each and every one of you that this has been a really, really life-altering experience on so many levels. So I'm happy in some ways because I thought I was the only one. Now I've got a 26-year-old daughter in Brooklyn, so I'm not worried about her educational needs right now. But there's a whole lot of other daddy please that's coming at me that I didn't anticipate. But we love them and we do what we can. So thank you very much. Dr. Edward Vincent, I want to come back to you for a second, and I'm going to ask you folks, as I ask you, this next group of questions, we'll want to be a little bit brief because I want to see how much we can get in. But let me just say, you're principally responsible for the overall administration of the public school system. Can you talk about some of the challenges, the things that have really been, sticking with you in structuring the new school year in the era of COVID?
So if I just trying to be concise, I think the biggest surprise that I had personally was Medford encountered HVAC concerns. And we have our 8 buildings, the outside buildings, 6 of which are, I consider them brand new buildings, although they're anywhere between 18 and 20 years old. So not being an HVAC engineer, I made the assumption that all of those buildings, it was just going to be a check plus and school would have been able to start as quickly as possible. So that was really a big surprise when we finally got the air quality done, to find out that there were so many pieces of it that wasn't functioning properly.
Okay.
So that was a surprise. And then we had to get about the business of repairing it as quickly as possible.
Absolutely.
So I think the sense of urgency for me, knowing under the COVID closure and the COVID conditions, that when we shut down so quickly on March 12th, that Thursday, that no one had time to prepare and plan, really think about it. And everyone believed school was only shutting down for a few weeks. Unbeknownst to us, we never went back to school. Graduations couldn't happen. Proms couldn't happen. And so when I think about COVID, I think about all of those lost opportunities, lost memories for kids, my son included, who was a senior and missed out on all of his senior events. But at the same time, we thought about the safety and health of everyone involved. So I think now for Medford, for the entire school system, we need to make sure that all the buildings are safe and have the proper amount of air exchange so the students can go in, which is what's happening. And we've been able to, it took time, but we've been able to do that. And so I am committed to getting the kids in school, because I do believe that that is the best place for them, because we have so many students that are struggling socially, emotionally, and Stacy Shulman can attest to that even if it is 2 days, I will take the 2 days that they're in school for parents that choose it, than the 4 days, the entire week out of school. So that's what I would say was my biggest surprise or shock of this, piece. But again, because everyone's safety and health was our top priority, we had to fix that. So.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you for that. Stacy Shulman, I know you can help. What signs should parents be looking for with regard to their children's emotional and psychological well-being?
So this one gets a little bit tricky.
Okay.
I think that a lot of students are going to be different to their parents, even if there was no pandemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just over a course of time, thinking about how our children evolve. Yeah. But what you really want to look for is a massive change. Okay. Students, if your child is sleeping all day, if they're incredibly tired or lethargic, or the other end, they have a motor that doesn't seem to shut down. They're really overwhelmed and worried about things and unable to focus. So you're looking for that sort of massive swing. I also think and what happens every year is that students experience a certain amount of anxiety or depression coming in after the summer for the change into the school year. Most often we see that dissipate and change after a typical 6-week behavioral adjustment. That's what it takes for us humans to adjust to a new environment, is typically around 6 weeks. If you see your child still being really distressed, that's a time where you may want to talk to your child's pediatrician about, is this something that's typical in this moment? Understanding that this is not a typical environment. Wow. So we want to be mindful and aware and empathetic to our children who are going through a really hard time. And I think the best thing to do is to ask them too, is to say, like, I noticed like you're really tired all the time, and what's going on, or you seem really worried, and to open that conversation. I think those are the two things that, that I'm focusing on now is the anxiety and depression, because that's what we see most of. And just to really have that conversation if you can.
That's fantastic. That's great information. And I appreciate you sharing that with our audience, because I think there are a lot of parents out there that maybe have no clue about some of these changes that are occurring, and maybe aren't making the link between, the fact that they're not in school, they're not socializing as they normally would be, they're not doing the things that ordinarily around this time of the year they'd be doing, and there's a freak out factor.
Sure.
And so.
And reach out to your school's counselors. They're available to have a quick conversation with you and help you with referrals to community services, or to speak with your child about what's going on. We're definitely there for support. So please reach out.
Appreciate it. Los, I want to come back to you. I want to ask you, from a parenting perspective, what things that you've already done in your life have helped equip you for getting your family through COVID-19?
Wow. This is I'm raising my granddaughter.
Okay.
I guess the fact that I have already raised 3 others, her mother and my 2 others. My youngest child graduated Medford High 2 years ago. So I guess having, and a proud single mother at that, I could say. Having those skills, raising my kids, and now I'm doing this right now with my granddaughter, and this is where I get all the strength dealing with COVID and other experiences that I had also encountered in life that also prepared me for this moment, to kind of able to bring myself at her level to explain to her what is going on, what is the virus, what is that. And I will tell you that she's 6 years old. She's one of those people, child, that if I'm walking out the door, she understands very well what's going on. She'll say, "Did you get your mask?" So she's very on top of that, because I explained to her, not just tell her, "You got to wear it," but to explain to her why, the reason why we have to do this, the reason why this is happening the way it's happening right now. And I also want to, before we move on to that, I also wanted to touch a thing. I represent because I'm multiracial. I don't really advocate much for my Hispanic heritage, because people always speak for them. They always have so much available. I always stand up for the little part, my Haitian heritage. Sometimes it feels like they are forgotten. They are left, because there is a lot of Haitian, family in Medford, and it's not all of them that do speak or read English. And the fact that the school is not, a lot of them not being in school, I wish that they will try to find a way to make them understand that they are still able to reach out to the school, that there is someone that can speak their language. So if they're struggling with their children, if they have any issue, I'm really concerned about that, because I talk to a lot of them, and I wish that, and I hope that they have something like that available for them.
Well, this is certainly a good forum in which to raise that concern. So I'm glad that you did. And I appreciate your reflection on, being a multi-generational parent and moving from the raising of your own kids to the raising of your grandkids, because I had a mother like that, God rest her gentle soul, as well. And after she raised all of us, she helped to raise not only a grandkid, but a great grandkid for our family. So I really love and appreciate that. And
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Absolutely. Melanie, if I can ask you the same questions, what, and I think you kind of teased it a little bit and giving kudos to Marie, but what kinds of things that you've already done in your life have helped equip you for getting your family through COVID-19?
Thank you for that thoughtful question. I think that for me, it's been learning to ask for help has been huge. And I learned that late in life, actually. But it was one of probably the most important lessons that I've learned in life. And I teach my children. I have a senior at the high school right now who is struggling. You know, it's been very isolating for him, and he's having a hard time. And he does have access to resources, but it's still, you know, it's still difficult for, you know, the kids, their brains are developing. They're still, you know, trying to figure all this out. And we try to do a gratitude list when things are really hard. And so when, you know, Stacey was talking about looking at anxiety and depression, and, you know, for me too, like when I'm feeling that way and I'm feeling stressed out about whatever's going on in the world, in the state of the world today, I try to find something to be grateful for, you know, and that's also been a huge lesson for me. And I was a foster kid. I was, you know, raised by my Nana before I ended up getting taken away from my mom and became a foster kid. And seen a lot as a young girl in school, and know what I didn't want and what I did want. And what I think is most important is that, you know, the children feel cared for and that they feel heard. And I really appreciated what Lassa said about, you know, teaching the children why, right? Because my mom would often say I was always that kid that wanted to know why, right? So if you just told me I had to do something, you know, that wasn't going to work for me. I needed to know why, right? And so it's important. Yeah, right. And so it's important that we explain to our children. I also have a developmentally disabled daughter who is 12. She's going to be 13 next month. And I learned so much from her. And I've learned so much about gratitude and love and appreciation and patience, but also about, you know, presuming competence, right? Assuming that our children can understand, even at a young level, that they can understand to some degree those things that they need to understand. And that the same is for our parents, right? We presume competence for folks and give them the benefit and the dignity of explaining things to them so that they can understand them. And as Lassa was saying too, explaining in their language in an appropriate way is really helpful. So I think that, you know, and isolation is really huge. So I try, when I'm feeling really isolated, instead of waiting for people to call me or waiting, you know, for something to happen so that I can feel less isolated, I've learned, and I guess that goes back to the knowing how to ask for help. I've learned that I can reach out, that I can pick up the phone, that I can let somebody know I need to talk, or, you know, feel connected to the community. So, but I'm also, you know, I feel like all these things come with age, right? It took a long time to learn these things.
Yeah, experience is the best teacher, they say. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I want to come back to Stacey. I want to give you a minute or two to talk about as in your role as a preschool director, the other hat that you're wearing. Talk about, you know, a few of the challenges you faced and what solutions may have emerged.
So our school, it's not just preschool, it's infants through preschool. So we're covering a large spectrum of early childhood. I think, you know, what comes forefront in my mind as an administrator right now is the cost involved with all the PPEs that we typically we're able to get more reasonably. Now, it's not only difficult to acquire these things, you know, whether it's, you know, disinfectant wipes or what have you, but, you know, in some cases it's twice or 3 times as much for it as, you know, we've had before. So that is kind of like the smaller thing, but it becomes a big thing because it's like a part of my life is constantly looking for and finding, you know, these sources that I can get 1 or 2, or, you know, trying to make these connections so I can keep the school having the sanitizing liquid that they need, and, you know, just making sure that we can keep up with the level of increased sanitation that needs to happen to keep everybody safe.
Yeah.
I think other challenges come in with, you know, people do come in with anxieties as well. Of course, you know, thankfully we've been back in operation since July. So I think there is a little bit more comfort now because, we've had success with keeping everybody safe since July, and nobody has had, knock on wood, thank God we haven't had any cases. But it's trying to communicate to parents, giving them some positive messages, but also giving them some messages about responsibility and walking that tightrope with helping them to understand that, yes, we are doing all we can to keep them safe at school. You've done an excellent job with, keeping up with your part. But now that we're having holidays coming and stuff, you have to do this messaging to say, you know what, you might have to make the sacrifice this year and not see extended family and so on, because if we don't do that, we may stand a chance of not being open for the rest of the year, so I feel sometimes it's hard as an administrator to both encourage parents at the same time being in a role where you feel like you have to say something that feels like parenting to a parent when that's not really the role that you want to have. On the kids side, I have to say I've been pleasantly surprised at how resilient. Even from the toddlers, even they get it. I mean, they wear the masks when I need them to wear the mask. They resist, of course, because they don't want to, and they tell you they don't want to. And again, most people have mentioned this already. If you explain enough to their satisfaction, it tends to work out that they really understand and they comply. I think we've had some challenges in the beginning with like how much information to give to children, right? So, if you have a very anxious parent, sometimes in the beginning, we dealt with like children not wanting to be around anybody, kind of thing, because of the messaging, and it's really hard, 1 minute you're telling kids that they shouldn't be around, with each other, and then, in close proximity, but I don't want the message to be that that's wrong, because there's going to come a time where it's going to be safe to do so, and you want to encourage that socialization. So those are just a few of my challenges.
Okay. Marie, I'm gonna give you the last word. And I might try and sneak a few more minutes out, but I'm moving close to the time where I've got to make the transition. But what advice, coming from your perspective as a parent program guru, say that 3 times fast, would you want to give, to parents who are trying to deal with what we're all trying to deal with right now?
I think Melanie said it most beautifully. Reach out. We're here. We are here to take that step as you can. Baby steps, maybe. Just want to say one thing, Terry. It's about Melanie brought up the languages. Our Parent Child Plus program is available in Spanish, Portuguese, Haitian, Creole, and English. Just know that, and we are. And I just got a grant to re-up my ESOL program. Just got it this week, so we'll have some more attention around that. I'm thrilled. Thank you. And our ASQ will be available in English. It'll be available in Spanish as well very soon. Just want to throw those 2 things in. That we're very mindful about those kinds of things. So
fantastic.
But back to the ask for help. We are here. People have come to me, Marie, I've never done this before. I have to ask you this. I need clothing. I need, experiences that the parents are having right now. I've never had to ask for food certificates, but we're here. We have the certificates. We have ability to get clothing. We have Thanksgiving giving baskets because of our wonderful community we live in. We have help support. We just sent out email this week, and please let us know what you need, and do it with dignity, as you said, Melanie. That's the most important thing. Be real, be sincere, be authentic, be a partner with our families, and they'll feel it when you are true. They'll know it, and that's, I think, and the gratitude. Find magic in every day. Just
wow,
every day.
I gotta let you optimize my search engine. You came up with some great buzzwords right there. I appreciate that. But they're sincere and they're genuine. My friends, I wish I had another hour to spend with you because the time has gone by so very quickly, and we're getting unheard signs of approval from the audience out there. Thank you so much, Dr. Maurice Edouard Vincent, Marie Cassidy, Stacy Clayton, Stacy Schulman, Losa Julie Janvier, and Melanie Perkins McLaughlin for spending a little bit of your Friday night me time with the city of Medford. It's been a great pleasure sharing this virtual space with you. Please keep on doing the heavy lifting that you're doing to stay engaged and bless the children of Medford and beyond. I suspect that your time, your talent, and your treasure is valued more than you may realize. If you would please check the red tab on the bottom right of your screen to leave our meeting, and please pick us back up on Medford Community Media Public Access 3 and 47, or on the WMCC Facebook page where we are live streaming. Be safe and enjoy the rest of your evening. God bless you all.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Great
Pleasure.
having us. Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Just a quick note from Maurice Edouard Vincent to everyone. Translation is available through Medford Public Schools Special Services. So you can get in touch with the superintendent's office if you need more information about that. So I have a few promotional announcements that I want to make, and then I want to move us quickly to the musical portion of our evening. But I do want to pay homage to this past Saturday, Halloween. We had a fundraiser photo booth at the community center. It was an event hosted and intended to uplift and inspire, and community members came together to donate, to volunteer, and participate. As a collective, we were able to create a fun and safe event within the COVID guidelines. And Sandy Osil, our interim executive director, and Brian Collins, as well as our board of directors, wants to thank all that volunteered and donated their time, energy, money, and candy to make the event a success. Extra special thank you to Ruth Youngblood, to Henry Workman, to, well, myself, but Lakota Youth Services, Vision of Grace Photography, Medford Family Network, and Tufts University Community Relations for their support of this Halloween photo booth fundraiser. Photos from the event are posted on our Facebook page, and just a fun fact, smiling just so happens to be a great stress reliever, and these pictures are guaranteed to make you smile. Okay, second announcement, we are accepting new board members at West Medford Community Center. We are looking for highly engaged, skilled, and motivated community leaders and fundraisers to serve on the board of directors, which is elected each year by the general membership at our annual meeting. You can stop by the WMCC on 111 Arlington Street in West Medford on Sunday, November 8th between 1 and 4 p.m. to fill out a board nomination form or to renew your membership. You can also join or renew your membership online through our website, www.wmcc.us/get-involved/ Sign up or renew your membership in time for our virtual annual meeting, which is happening on Sunday, November 15th at 2 p.m. Please join a historical organization with a community-minded mission. Okay, folks, one last thing. This is the I get to because I'm the host section of the program. This is my new book. It's called Brown Skin in the Brave New World. And it's available at my website, www.brownskinedpoet.net. So if you like poetry with a chocolate flavor, although it deals with a whole lot, come see me. And I've got 5 books available, including this new one. All right. So now it is time to turn our attention to the lyrical miracle we've engaged for this evening's musical side of the ledger. I'm happy man tonight. I've already had the congenial company of several of Medford's fine folks who are doing their best to keep academics at the forefront of family life in the city, despite the craziness of COVID-19. I now have the great pleasure of introducing to Medford an outstanding duo of musical artists that I've watched and admired for some years now. Now, when we begin the search for musical talent to put before our First Friday audience, we always have these 3 criteria in mind: ability, availability, and affinity. Pardon the alliteration, I'm a poet and I can't help it. Janet Casey and Guido Tamburini have the ability. They're both exceptional musicians, vocalists, and music educators. They are also available, having played at our little community center on at least one other occasion, and are always open to the invitation despite busy and hectic schedules. They also have affinity. They love Medford and its people and continue to do things that make the community proud. They are married and they live in Concord, Massachusetts. There's much more to say about their accomplishments and their international music exploits, but I'm going to get out of their way now and let the music do the talking. People of Medford, please welcome Janet Casey and Guido Tamburini unplugged to the Zoom room and the WMCC's First Fridays in November. Janet and Guido, take it away.
Thank you, Terry.
Thanks, Terry. This is not a Christmas tree. It's my Thanksgiving tree. Just wanted to let everybody know. Someone told me long ago there's a calm before the storm. I know it's been coming for some time. It's over, so they say, in the rain, someday. I know, shining down like water. I want to know, have you ever seen the rain? I want to know, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day? Yesterday, days before, it was cold and rain is hard. I know, been that way for all my time. Till forever on it goes, through the circle fast and slow. I know it can't stop, I wonder. I want to know, have you ever seen the rain? I want to know, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day? I want to know, have you ever seen the rain? I want to know, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day? obviously Creedence Clearwater. The next song we're going to do is Autumn Leaves. It's one of my favorite songs. But every time we do this, I sing a lot with people get very sad at the thought of this song. Fall can be a very melancholy time. But the person's not forever. They're just gone for now. So. The falling leaves drift by my window. The autumn leaves are red and cold. I see your lips, the sunburned kisses, the sunburned hands I used to hold. Since you went away, the days grow long, and soon I'll hear old winter's song. But I miss you most of all, my darling. When autumn leaves start to fall. Since you went away, the days grow long, and soon I'll hear old winter's song. But I miss you most of all, my darling. When autumn leaves start to fall, when autumn leaves start to fall, when autumn leaves start to fall.
All right. All right, all right, all right. So marvelous. Massachusetts, a wonderful place for singer-songwriters. Has a rich tradition with the college towns around here. Obviously, we have our pick. The Cambridge scene isn't what it used to be, but you know, there's a whole generation of musicians who are actually friends and have been doing some phenomenal things, from Laurie McKenna to Mark Corelli. And in particular, I'm very fond of a man who's originally from the Midwest, from Wisconsin, Wisconsin, who's actually living in Western Massachusetts right now. And his name is Jeffrey Foucault. And he's, his art, he's been making records for about 20 years. And with every record, you can tell that he's sort of honing in and getting closer to the perfection in his art. And this is a song of his that I've loved for a long time. It's called Northbound 35. Northbound 35, past the iron mills, under infidel sky. I got 900 miles to drive, and you won't be there. I saw an housebound train in the distance, in the driving rain. Every ticket costs the same, to where you can't go. Mustang horses, champagne glasses, and everything frail and everything wild. It's the price of living motion. What's beautiful is broken, and grace is just the measure of a fall. So I rode into your town, past the smokestacks and the ore docks off of Maine, while the sky spun around with her diamonds on fire. We fought all night, then we danced in your kitchen. You were as much in my hands as water or darkness or nothing can ever be held. Mustang horses, champagne glasses, everything frail, everything real. It's the price of living motion. What's beautiful is broken, and grace is just the measure of a fall. It's just flashes that we own, little snapshots made of flesh and of bone, and out in the darkling plain alone, they light up the sky. Now it's 51 and it's heading south. Ain't it funny how it all turned out? 'Cause I never even kissed you on the mouth when we said goodbye. Mustang horses, champagne glasses, and everything frail and everything wild. It's the price of living motion. What's beautiful is broken, and grace is just the measure of a fall. All right. So that was Northbound 35. And this is another song that I guess we sing a lot together. We've been singing it for, it's a beautiful song that a Texan songwriter called Nancy Griffith wrote, I think about 25 years ago. And it's become synonymous. It's one of the most sung male-female duets in folk music. And it's the story of a couple, that get sold together in their house by the roadside.
Gulf Coast Highway, you work the rails, you work the rice fields with the gold up wells, you work the oil rigs in the Gulf of Mexico. The only thing I've ever owned is this old house here by the road. And when he dies, he says he'll catch some blackbird's wing, and we will fly away in heaven come some sweet blue bonnet spring.
She worked through springtime when I was gone. Our days were sweet and our nights were warm. The seasons strange, the jobs would come, the flowers fade, and this old house felt so alone when the work took me away. And when she dies, she says she'll catch some blackbird's wings, and she will fly away to heaven come some sweet blue bonnet spring. Highway 90, the jobs are gone. We tend our garden, we set the sun. This is the only place on earth bonnets grow. Once a year they'll come and go in this old house here by the road. And when we die, we say we'll catch some blackbird's wings, and we will fly away to heaven come some sweet blue bonnet spring. And when we die, we say we'll catch some blackbird's wings, and we will fly away together come some sweet blue bonnet spring. All right, Gulf Coast Highway.
It's pretty cool that my Italian husband is the one who introduced me to this song. And I just love it. And him.
And this other song, which is actually, this is a song about migrant workers and about a specific story of a specific migrant worker. The Irish, who have given birth to many Medfordian, I guess.
Many what?
A Medfordian.
Oh, Medford. I'm a Medfordian. I'm fourth generation Medford.
And
for the record.
Have been always famous for giving their sons and daughters to the world. And one such particular migration took place about 100 years ago or so towards the southern United States, where they were paid farm laborers. And they were competing with the much lower wages than that laborers from south of the border were making. And so they were having a particularly hard time finding work, especially around that area of Texas and Louisiana. And there's a beautiful song about a place and a person in Louisiana that's actually an Irish song, and it's called The Lakes of Pontchartrain. It was one fine spring morning, I bid New Orleans adieu. I bid the road to Jacksontown, my fortune to renew. I cursed on all the foreign work, no credit could I gain, till I fell in love with a Creole belle by the lakes of Pontchartrain. She took me into her mother's house and she treated me right well. The hair upon her shoulders in black velvet ringlets fell to try and paint her beauty. I know it would be in vain, so handsome was my Creole belle by the lakes of Pontchartrain. I asked if she would marry me, and she said this ne'er could be. She had a lover, and he was gone at sea. She said that she would wait for him, and true she would remain. So faithful was my Creole girl by the lakes of Pontchartrain. Fare thee well, my Creole belle, I'll never see you more. I won't forget your kindness in the cottage by the shore, and at each social gathering a flowing cup I'll drain, and I'll drink a health to my Creole girl by the lakes of Pontchartrain. All right, the lakes of Pontchartrain. Okay, this is a song that has been covered. I need to switch guitars. It's a song that, and the reason I need to switch guitars is that I do this song in another tuning, and I can switch guitars, or I can torture you for 4 minutes while I tune.
Switch guitars.
Exactly. So this is a song that's been covered a million times, and it's a very famous song. By
Richard
Thompson.
This old house is falling down around my ears. I'm drowning in a river of my tears. When all my world is gone, you hold me sweet. I need you at the dimming of the day. You pull me like The moon pulls on the tide. You know just where I keep my better song. What days have come to keep us far apart? A broken promise or a broken heart. Now all the bonny birds have wheeled away. I need you at the dimming of the day. On the night you're only what I want. On the night you could be my confidant. I see you on the street in company. Why don't you come and ease your mind with me? I'm living for the night we steal away. I need you at the dimming of the day. Yes, I need you at the dimming of the day.
All right. Change again.
Do I put another log on the fire, or are you too hot?
It's incredibly hot in this one.
Sorry.
Only, you know, it's not Christmas yet, and
But after everything that's gone on this year, I figured we better get Christmas happening sooner rather than later. Heaven, please send to all mankind understanding and peace of mind. But if it's not asking too much, please send me someone to love. Show the world how to get along. Peace will enter when hate is gone. But if it's not asking too much, please send me someone to love. I lie awake at night and ponder world trouble, and the answer is always the same. That unless man puts an end to this terrible sin, hate will put the world in a flame. What a shame. Just because I'm in misery, I don't beg for no sympathy. But if it's not asking too much, please send me someone to love. Ponder world trouble, and the answer is always the same. That unless man puts an end me. And if it's not asking too much, please send me someone to love. And if it's not asking too much, please send me someone to love. Yeah.
All right.
That was great.
Thank you.
All right.
Strangely enough, I hadn't heard that song in ages. Then we went to Italy so that I could play in a jazz workshop by Sheila Jordan, who's a great jazz singer. And one of the Italian girls in the course sang that song, and I thought, oh, wow, I got to do it.
All right.
These men that I've been seeing, baby, got their soul up on the shelf. You know, they could never love me when they can't even love themselves. But I need someone to love me, someone to really understand. Who won't put himself above me, who just love me like a man. I've never seen such losers, darling, even though I tried to find a man who could take me home instead of taking me for a ride. Love me, someone who really understands. Believe me when I tell you, you could love me like a man. They all want me to rock them like my back ain't got no bone. Darling, I know you can. Believe me when I tell you, you could love me. Come home sad and lonely, feel like I want a man to hold me, not a fool to ask me why. And I need one to love me. I know you can. Don't put yourself above me. You could love me like a man.
All right. How we doing for time? We're doing good for time.
We're doing good for time.
Shall we do?
I need a drink.
You need
Excuse
a
me for a
drink.
second.
Shall we do?
Why don't you do drown in your own tea, in my own tears, so I can have a rest?
I have to drown in my own.
Great chance.
It brings a tear into my eyes. yeah, to lie. I cried so long. You've been gone. I guess I'll drown in my own tears. I'll sit and cry just like a child. My flowing tears, they are running wild. But if you don't think that you'll be home soon, I'll drown, yeah, in my own tears. I know it's true. Into each line, some rain must fall. I get so blue here without you. It keeps on raining more and more. Why won't you come on home so that I won't have to be so alone? But if you don't think that you'll be home soon, then I'll drown, oh yeah, in my own tears. Well, I know it's true. Into each life, some rain must fall. I get so blue, ooh, here without you. It keeps on more and more. Why won't you come on home, just so that I won't have to be all alone? But if you don't think that you'll be home soon, then I'll drown in my own tears, baby. Drown in my own tears, honey. I'll drown in my own tears. Yes, I'll drown in my own tears. Oh, yeah.
Nice, Guido.
That is good.
Been for an extremely long time, for a very long time. We've been doing this song. We've been married almost 26 years, so I won't say been doing this song since we've been married, but just about. And it's just a song. It's not a political statement of any kind. However, we would like to dedicate the song to Miss Stacey Abrahams and Miss Keisha Lance Bottoms for the wonderful job they've done.
Melodies bring memories that linger in my heart. Make me think of Georgia. Why did we ever part? Some sweet day when blossoms fall and all the world's a song. I'll go back to Georgia, 'cause that's where I belong. Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia on my mind, Georgia, Georgia, a song of you comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the pines. Other arms reach out to me, other eyes smile tenderly. Still in peaceful dreams I see the road leads back to you. Oh, oh, Georgia, Georgia, no peace I find. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia, Georgia, all day through. My mind, Georgia, my mind, Georgia, Georgia, a song of you comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the pines. Other arms reach out to me, other eyes smile tenderly. Still in peaceful dreams I see the road leads back to you. Georgia, just keeps Georgia. I said you're on my mind. Yeah. This song, we're gonna do Brother. It's a song from 1920s, 1930, when?
32, 33.
But it's incredibly relevant today. Once I built a railroad, made it run, made it race against time. Once I built a railroad, now it's done. Brother, can you spare a dime? Once I built a tower to the sun, brick and rivet and lime. Once I built a tower, now it's done. Brother, can you spare a dime? Once in khaki suits, gee, we look swell, full of that Yankee doodly-dum. Well, 500,000 boats went slogging through hell, and I was a kid with a drum. Say, don't you remember? They called me Al. It was Al all the time. Say, don't you remember? I'm your pal. Brother, can you spare a dime? Khaki suits, gee, we look swell, full of that Yankee doodly-dum. Oh, 500,000 boats went slogging through hell, and I was a kid with a drum. Say, don't you remember? They call me Al. It was Al all the time. Say, don't you remember? I'm your pal. Buddy, can you spare a dime?
All right.
And then to end,
It's perfect.
yeah.
For once on time. This is the one time in my life I'm gonna be on time for anything.
It was a very hard summer for me. Both my parents died. And when my mother was hospitalized and I could only visit her for a half an hour a day, I sang this to her every single time I was with her. And it was my wish for her, and I'm singing it for her now. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why, and oh, why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh, why can't I?
All right.
I don't even really know what to do now. That was so beautiful and so mesmerizing. And the tribute to your mom, I was, kind of following you and Billy on Facebook, kind of when you were going through that. And to think that you sang that to her every time you went to the hospital, that's just how heartbreakingly beautiful that is. Listen, thank you both for a wonderful, wonderful set of music. Thanks so much, Janet Casey and Guido Tamburini, for doing some incredible storytelling and lyricizing for these perilous and very strange times that we're living in. Some of those songs were so perfect. I can't believe the set. I appreciate you, and I suspect that it's not the last time that we will at least try to bring your talents to this local audience. An Irish ginger and an Italian native get together, and they play some just wonderful music. Another one of the North Shore's amazing historical destinations is Concord, Massachusetts. Janet and Guido, I hope everyone everywhere in our viewing network is giving you guys both a standing ovation because you have been marvelous tonight. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Night.
Good night. Good night. So, okay, before we fade to black, that's a wrap for this virtual edition of the WMCC's monthly Words and Music program. We're so happy to be back visiting with you in your living rooms and other household spaces. I want to thank all of our guests for allowing us to invade their places, showing their faces and sharing their graces. Shout out to Dr. Maurice Edouard Vincent. Shout out to the city's Melanie Perkins McLaughlin, to Losa Julie Janvier, to Stacy Clayton, to Stacy Schulman, and Marie Cassidy. Virtual high five to Patrick Gordon from Medford Community Media for helping us to be live on local cable, and AirDAP to Brian Collins and Sandy Osil for figuring out the technical stuff and for getting us up and running on Facebook Live. And of course, as usual, to all of you for spending another evening enjoying what the WMCC has to offer. Once again, the annual meeting, we are accepting new board members at WMCC, looking for highly engaged, skilled, and motivated community leaders and fundraisers to serve on the center's board, which is elected each year by the general membership at our annual meeting. Stop by the WMCC on November 8th between 1 and 4 p.m. to fill out a board nomination form or renew your membership. You can also renew your membership online through our website, www.wmcc.us/get-involved Sign up or renew your membership in time for our virtual annual meeting, which is happening on November 15th at 2 p.m. We are back with our virtual origami class. Virtual origami returns this Sunday, November 8th, 2020.